And we are live. Hey, Gwen, how's it going? All right. So first thing I need to do is put these tama together. Apparently the order I shipped, the package broke open and only one made it. So I need to make 7 more to replace it. Considering, I sent it priority mail, considering filing for the insurance, since the value was less than the $100 they automatically do for that. But I don't know if it's worth it, or if it's one of those things where they make it a horrible experience and get you to not pursue it just because they make it such a disaster to deal with. All right. Well, the good news is I did the new IVIG treatment this last weekend. The particular medicine I was doing is called Prevagen, and it actually worked out really well. I was a little bit tired, but then again, I have to take Benadryl before I start it, so I'm putting a little bit of styrofoam packing peanut in here because the weights I use are a little short, and if I don't, they'd like rattle around. So I don't want them to do that. So static electricity makes these things want to stick to everything. So I'll put like a little broken piece of peanut on each end to keep it from bouncing around too much. Give a little bit of tension. I haven't had anybody complain about it moving since I started doing this, so it should be just fine. And then I use the IPS Weld. Well, I don't know if this is IPS Weldon, but companies are related. But this is Weldon number 3. Active ingredient is methylene chloride. It evaporates fairly quickly, so it's usually not too much of an issue to clean up if you don't pour too much out. The issue is actually keeping it from evaporating when you want to use it over more than like a couple of weeks. All right. So got them on that side, and just need to do it on this side here. It shouldn't take very long to do. Hey, BSI, nice to see you. Hello, hello. I'm just saying hi, letting the stream run. Don't forget to hit that like button. Thank you for the reminder. So, probably only going to run for about an hour. Still kind of a little tired. Would like to try and catch up on my sleep a bit more than I have been. Plus, Mrs. Torrin is going into work early because she's getting some overtime this week. So I figured I'd take the opportunity to catch up my sleep, because I do like to stay up until she heads to work, just because she's my wife and I love her a lot and I like to be with her. Okay. All right. And this is the dish I used to pour it out in. That's a bit bright. Let me see if I can turn it down a bit. There we go. Not quite so washed up. And let's see, Gwen says, I'm happy that the brew treatment seems to be working. I'm assuming that's new treatment. Yep. The new treatment seems to be working. Yep. Haven't really picked up a whole lot of strength, but somewhat. I figure I need to exercise a bit more and make sure that I'm keeping my activity level up. So I figure if I start doing that, that'll work pretty good. All right, let's see if I can get this open. Yep, I can. Sometimes I get it a little too tight. All right. Just pour a little bit out. Don't need a lot, just enough to get that down. Just set that over there so it doesn't melt in the other plastic. All right. So I just do a little bit there and slide it on like that. Make sure there's not a large amount of excess there. Then I'll get these packaged up, and I'm going to wrap them all in a Tyvek envelope and then put it in the regular priority mail box. So if the box breaks open, all of them have to fall out rather than just the one, individually fall out. I think they actually damaged it on some equipment because it was going from my area to Texas, and it kind of like went to the Philly hub and then went out from it, and then 3 or 4 days later it came back to the Philly hub and then went out again. So I'm assuming it got damaged. They sent it back to the last location, rescanned it, and sent it out again. I feel sorry for the nice person who ordered it. They were waiting a while. I think I'm going to go ahead and, since I've been running a little bit short of tama, I'm going to go ahead and make some more 100-gram cores. These are 70-gram cores. So I'll just set this over here, and that'll evaporate off in like the next hour or two. But now that they're here, nice and clean, just double check to make sure that nothing is coming apart with it. All right. There we go. Goes out of the way over here. All right. So this one had the arm break off. So I had to print a new arm. And I'm going to kind of angle it like this rather than it was up like that. And it wouldn't fit in one of the miniature boxes like this. So I figure like that. So it's not quite so high. I can actually get it to fit in one of my miniature storage display places. So, all right, let me find where I put the epoxy. Give me a second here. It's a little messy here, but I know I had it up here. Wonderful. I managed to temporarily misplace it, but I know I didn't move it out of the area I was in. But yeah, I should start working with that some more. Leave it in the miniature display stand. Nope. Ah. Fell behind the other one. Okay. Yeah, it'll be easier with this one here. I don't have, didn't go out to the garage to get my normal stir sticks. So in a pinch, you can use a Q-tip. All right, let me catch up with chats here. And Gwen says hello to the assignment. And Gwen says, for some reason, I thought those were twisted together and locked in place. Nope, they are actually bonded with, come on, brain function. They're bonded with a agent that kind of reduces surface tension and lets the parts kind of intermix. All right. This is 5-minute epoxy. All right, so just make sure I know how to cap it. All right. And like a paper pad like this also works pretty well for mixing small amounts of epoxy. Okay. There we go. Oops. Looks like we got a little bit of excess pouring out of there. Have to clean that off before I recap it. All right. Okay. Not going to bother with that because they're unequal mixes. Okay, there we go. Back that off just a little bit. And I don't need a whole lot of this part here. You just mix it together. For some reason, this particular one reminds me of fish smell. All right. Make sure get a decent mixture here. And then I just get a little bit up here. I've been using super glue on these, but I have to hold them for a really long time. And it doesn't seem to want to cure when there's a large amount of it. But I'd like to have a better bond. So, all right, let's make sure that that's not angled too high. I'll have to reprimer this. So I've been thinking, if I'm going to be miniature painting and I want to cover a large area, an airbrush might be a good idea. And I found a couple airbrushes in like the $40 to $70 range, which is something that I can probably afford. And I'm thinking that might be a good option, but I got to probably watch some videos on how to actually use the brush and make sure that I'm not getting myself in over my head. All right. So problem is this, okay, there we go. I used a little bit too much epoxy. But when I primer it should cover the joint fairly well. All right. Now I got to hold this for about 5 minutes. All right, let's see. Hey, Maylee, nice to see you on. Welcome, welcome. You have to give me a few seconds here because I got to hold my hands in place while this sets. And then I've got another piece that I'm also going to do with another little mixed batch here. I had another miniature fall and break apart, but it didn't like break the actual pieces. They just separated at the glue joint. But I'm thinking for these that using epoxy is probably going to be the better option. All right, let's see. Is that going to hold a little bit yet? Nope, still needs a bit more. All right. Actually, I want that down a bit more. I don't want it to be higher than the other ones. I want it to be able to fit in the miniatures display case. See what else has been going on lately. I did solve a problem at work, which was nice. We have a program where we use it like about 4 or 5 times. Hey, it's MLS. Welcome, welcome. MLS says, hey, hey, hey. They're simple parts, but we have one tool that has regularly been off when we touch it off. And the way the programs are supposed to work, you're supposed to be able to like set your tool lengths, and then it should just work. But this one, first time we run it, it's off, and then we have to, we waste a sheet of the plastic, which fortunately is not all that expensive, but still, it's like, why waste it? And then finally realized what was going on is that one of the tools was programmed to the wrong height because and there's also a program that's part of that's all stored together in the same Mastercam file that makes the template that is put in the machine that these parts, the sheet is set on and these parts are cut out of. They're specialized that way so that they can hold it specifically with vacuum that they wouldn't be able to if we used our usual thing where it's a board of MDF and the vacuum is diffused through that. We want to have more and more localized vacuum. So there's a check in there for making sure that the tool doesn't like dig into the template material. But apparently that height, which is done from the top of the template, not the top of the material that gets set on the template, got copied over to the production program at that height, and it makes it like a 1/16 of an inch too high, so it was not cutting properly. So we finally got that fixed in the program, and it shouldn't happen again. So probably got about another 2 minutes or so before I can like let go of this, assuming I mixed it correctly. All right, let's see. It's starting to get tacky. Once it gets secure enough, I can just kind of let it sit like that, and I can start bringing up chats. All right, so that was Melee saying good evening, and that's MLS saying hey, hey, hey. All right. Yeah, so I'll probably have to hold it like this for a couple minutes, and then we'll be ready to move on to the next piece. And I'm thinking Thursday, I'm going to lock it in and like go ahead and set up a design stream to start working on Aussie Overload's braid, which has been kind of like a big mental block for me. I've got some ideas to do for it, but I need to actually sit down and do it. And the last design stream actually worked rather well. So I'm thinking that if I like lock myself in as I've got to do it this day, that I'll at least get started. And once I get started, I get going. Because a week ago Monday, when we had a snow day from work, I was actually able to get all of my online constable training done. And as I mentioned before, I've never, ever started that before like September. And even then, when I start in September, I do like one of the 3 classes, and then the next class or next 2 classes are usually like done early November, and you have to get it done by like the middle of November as the deadline. So I'm rather pleased that my the new dosage I'm taking on my ADHD medicine seems to be helping a lot. And I've been finding myself actually, even if I'm not necessarily doing things I want, I'm actually starting to do productive things rather than just sit around. So I'm actually kind of encouraged that I'm going to be able to start doing more of the stuff I want to do. I found a woodworking forum. I think it's Wood Talk Online, where I've actually been getting some nice help, which has been a lot of fun. And by nice help, I mean I've been on Facebook using some of the CNC groups going, I've had experience with this type of thing and that type of thing, and I think I can combine them to do this third type of thing that I really would like to do. Has anybody done this before, and any idea if I'll run into problems with it? And almost universally, the majority of the responses I get are, oh, you don't want to do type 3 because you can't do type 2 or whatever. It's like, I know I can do type 2 because I've done it before. And it's just been really frustrating. And they'll answer questions I haven't asked that are not helpful at all. And this forum, I've actually gotten like, some really good suggestions, and they make sense to me. And so I'm looking forward to when the workshop gets warm enough, getting some Takadais built. So I'm really looking forward to that. All right. I think that's going to be okay there. Let's see, how firm is this? Yep, that's pretty well stocked up. All right. And I need to be right back. I need to clean this off a little bit because I don't want it to One of the things you have to be really careful of with two-part epoxy is you don't want to ever accidentally get your resin in contact with your hardener, because you can catalyze the whole package with like just a little bit. It won't be a fast catalyzation, but you can actually have your whole thing that you just got harden up and be completely useless in like a few days. Excuse me. All right, so got that cleaned off. Let's just go ahead and take that off there. I'm gonna just fold it up like that, and that'll be tossed later. But all right, this is how I would normally do it here. Let's see. Whoops. Erica Olson is on. Hi, Erica. Erica says hello to me, to MLS, and Melee, and Gwen, and BS Simon. And Melee says, hey, Erica. All right. So just try to get roughly equal amounts of these. And now I got more out of that side. All right. Come on. At least I only just got it for this specific use. I'm not too worried about wasting a little bit of it. I just don't want to lose the whole thing. All right. So cap is on. That should be safe there. All right. And you don't want to use it with the cotton on the end, because if you do that, you get a whole bunch of threads built into it, which if you're wanting like, fiber-filled epoxy, you probably want like glass fiber or fiberglass, whatever, or nylon or carbon fiber. You don't want cotton as your reinforcing fiber. All right. That's probably decently mixed. All right, this is the other one that broke. All right. Let's make sure I get enough so I have good contact on the surface. And this should be a lot more stable. All right, that looks good there. All right. And at least this one was not primered, so I don't have to worry about reprimering it. And, the piece fell off. Okay. All right. I think that looks reasonably angled. Yeah, this does smell like fish for some reason. Like somebody microwaved tuna in the room I'm in. All right. I just got to hold that for a few minutes. Let me catch up a chat real quick here. All right, so we're still where we were at before. Yeah, I think in the future I'm just going to use epoxy for this. I do have another one I've been printing out, which is essentially a stand-in for a greater demon of corn, or the chaos god of murder and rage. The wings are still on the 3D printer out in my garage right now, and I would have gone out and got them off and brought them in to epoxy them as well. But like I mentioned, Mrs. Torn is leaving for work a bit earlier, and I had to make sure to give our cat that recently has gotten diabetes her shot, because I give it in the evening and Mrs. Torn gives it in the morning. The cat in question is named Solitaire. She's actually putting up with it really well. We were kind of having to like chase her the first couple of days we started giving her shots, but Mrs. Torn found out that if we have to wait till after we feed her. So we feed her to make sure she's eaten something, and then we wait about 15 minutes and then give her a treat. And as she's like eating the little snackies off the floor, one of us can like just kind of reach over, kind of give her scritches, and then just pick up a little bit of skin and give her the quick shot, and she doesn't even seem to notice it. So that's been working pretty well. But sometimes I'll need Mrs. Torrin to like kind of hold her just a little bit so I can give her the shot. And that seems to be working out pretty well. I'm only having to do it like maybe 1 out of 5 times with some assistance, but I want to make sure that I gave her a shot before Mrs. Torrin went for work. And if I was going to stream tonight, I needed to do that ahead of time so I didn't get a chance to get out to the garage. Boy, that was a really long excuse. So, all right, are we starting to hold? Nope. All right. Got to give that a bit longer. So I've been thinking I am going to go ahead and in the near future, I'm going to pick like one of those randomizer draw wheel things. I'm going to put in the people who've got memberships here, and like maybe once a month on maybe a member stream or whatever, I will draw a member, and then have them email me to the email address I have in my bio on YouTube, and I will give them a number that they'll need to post in chat to make sure that I've got the right person. And if it works out that they do respond and they are the right person, I will package up one of the mini Lego sets I've built and ship it to them as a thank you for being a member to the channel, because I don't really have room to keep all of them and display properly. And I thought it would be a nice way to say thank you to the people who've been really supporting the channel. And I think I'm going to try and like do that regularly going forward. And I figure I can do that because it's not really a game of chance. It's just kind of a randomly picked reward for people who are already members, and they're not like entering in just to get to like lottery for a gift type thing. And they're not paying directly. It's, just a channel membership, and it's a way to say thank you. So I think I can do that without too much issue. All right. It's starting to get a little more tacky, but needs a bit more time. So after I get this one done, then I will go ahead and work on the Gundam build till about probably 8:30 my time, which is about a half hour from now. And speaking of the time, probably will be done before I end my stream. But if you haven't been watching it, try and catch it on the replay. Andrea Burkhart has been covering the Tyler Robinson exclusion hearing, and it's been interesting listening to that. And it's been really, really nice that the judge has been applying the law pretty well, in my opinion, as far as they're supposed to have a presumption of openness to the public. And, even when like the prosecution and the defense both say, yeah, we can close this and, not have it out to the public, he's either denied in part or denied in all that motion. So it looks like they're not going to have a whole lot of the ongoing stuff that should be public kept away from the public, according to what the law is in Utah, where the courts, like I said, are supposed to have a presumption of like openness. Let's see. Make sure this is looking right. Okay. All right. This is getting close to setting up, so I want to make sure it's pretty good. And welcome back, Gwen. And Erica says, what are you making? I am fixing 2 of the 3D printed miniatures I printed out that the glue broke because they fell down when I was moving something around. And so I am gluing them together with 2-part epoxy. And a bit earlier, I made up 7 tama because the last order of tama that I shipped out, apparently the package broke open before it got to the recipient. and she only got one of the 8 tama she ordered. So I need to send her 7 replacement tama. And speaking of which, if anybody's had experience with the making an insurance claim on a priority mail package that got lost or damaged, is it really worth it for the default insurance, which is like $100, and I think it's be like $56 I could claim on it, because she did get one of them. They're $8 each, so 7 times 8 would be 56. But yeah, I just frustrated with that. I packed them in, used some packing peanuts to make sure that it was nice and secure. Because normally, in my experience, and I've talked to the people who professionally package stuff to ship out for the places I've worked at, that the main thing is you want to keep your stuff not moving, and usually the packaging will be fine as long as it's not like super heavy or whatnot. So I packed stuff in. It was not moving at all. It was nice and solid. I've usually had pretty good luck with that, but apparently it broke open, and 7 of the tama fell out. So I'm going to wrap them all inside one of the rip-proof Tyvek envelopes and tape it down as a bundle, and then I'm putting it in the box. So at least it'll stay all together. I'll still use the packing peanuts so it won't move around. All right. And we're looking like we're just about there. Oops, still moving just a little bit. And this needs to move a bit more, or the one of the arms is going to be below the base when it's finished. And I think I will hold off on doing the side arm until later, now that I got everything up here to do it. I'll do that off camera, because I don't want to have to. You really should wait an hour for this to set properly. And if I try and hold the other arm on there while the first blue part has not fixed or has not cured, it might pop and move. But yeah, this is also supposed to go like right there. Let's see if I can. But yeah, these are like lizard insect hive swarming type creatures. This thing is about the size of like an Abrams tank. All right, so yep, that should fit like that. I will get that later. This is, whoops, it's still dropping. It's just about done with its working range. Make sure that's high enough. Give it another minute or two, and then I could set it down. Actually, I could set it like that. Actually, set it that way. There. All right, and this one, nice and secure. All right. And okay, let me get the Gundam parts, and we'll start working on that. I'll catch up with Chet real quick before I start in on that. Move this out of the way. And I'll need to clean up here afterwards. Let me catch up with Chet. Oops. Let's get you guys back in focus. And this needs to be a little more secure. Oh, I've also been fixing or replacing the camera in my 3D printer. The one I've got is mounted outside, and there we go. That's a little bit better. And unfortunately, it I've got it in an enclosure, and the camera has to kind of sit outside of it. So I got like a mini camera unit to put on the 3D printed thing. I was putting the threaded inserts in recently, and unfortunately, I've been having problems with field of view not being enough to cover everything. So I'm going to probably have to get one that has like a zoom mode, so I can set the zoom to back far enough that it'll get the whole print going on. All right, let me catch up with chats here. All right, so let's see. Gwen's, let's see, did I get all these? Yeah, I did get MLS law. So Gwen said, hey there, hello everyone, I'm back from stringing my rice. And Erica says, what you making? And Erica says, well, that sucks. And you should get a shipping refund at least. Yeah, I'm hoping. I just don't know. I mean, I've got a receipt for it, or an invoice I did, but I'm just not sure if it's even worth the mental energy. So, all right. And Erica says, that looks pretty fragile. It's more that you got to glue it together. Like I said, I did have one of the pieces actually break instead of just separate at the glue joint. But yeah, 3D printed resin is not all that durable. So get our light on. Let's see, set that over here and see where we were. All right. So we did the body. Attach that. We got the arms. All right. So now we're going to do the waist. All right, so A, B1, C1, and F2. There's C2, C1, C2, and F2. All right. So we've got A. B1, C1, I leave parts of it in another spot. Get my glasses out. Let's see if I left something somewhere. Ah, I see what I did. Give me a second here, folks. I am going to, unfortunately, need to move the camera a little bit because I remember I accidentally knocked a couple off the edge of the table, and I need to go pick them up. Can I do this without having a total disaster? Yes, no, maybe. Oops. At least I don't have to worry about falling over anymore. He's getting out. One more to get, which is on the other side. Alrighty. Let's set this back. There we go. Thank you for your patience, everybody. Okay. So we have A and B1, C1, C2, and F2, which is F2. Alrighty. And Gwen says it reminds me a little bit of the guards in the Dark Crystal. Yep. And Gwen said, or Erica says, yes, a little bit. All right. Okay, we need C1 and C2, which are the gray ones here. And it's time for the ultrasonic knife again. Turn it on. All right. C1 29, C2 29. Right. There we go, 29. Dust bunnies on my fingers. There we go. I think I mentioned last time that I can see why this company that makes this also sells, okay, there's 29 on this one too, also sells a miniature detail sander because the little bit of like kind of semi-melted finish you get is going to clean up much easier with a sander than with knife. All right, and C234. Okay, 34. Dust bunny is not going away. Go. So 34. Oops. That's why that was not cutting off. Let's go into part a little bit. Oops. Did overheat. Ah, there we go. That's an internal part, so it shouldn't have any issue. I'm going to turn that off so it has a chance to recover. Okay, so this goes this way. And these slide in here. I think I know why that's sticking to my fingers. One of the ways that we make templates for the vacuum is we have to run a gasket line around where the part's going to be held in place so the vacuum will seal. And okay. Let me see if I can't trim that up just a little bit. Okay. And to put the gasket material in the grooves we cut for them, we use super glue. So I got super glue all over my fingertips. And let's see, Gwen says, reminder, 23 takes all precautions for safety while wielding sharp tools. And Gwen says, I kind of wish you'd walked around the table, pick that up. I could see everything collapsing. Well, I was kind of walked around the table, but I got stuff in the way, unfortunately. And Gwen says, it made me a little anxious. I'm sorry about that. All right, so then we get C235. This is C2 and 35. Right. Cut there. Cut there. And cut there. That off. All right. So this, still in that orientation. This in that orientation. They should just. So I didn't get that quite as clean of a cut as I'd like. Let's go ahead and touch that up. So it doesn't interfere with parts going together. Probably can hear some of that squealing. All right. That looks better. Yeah, there we go. That all snaps together and looks good. All right, then we've got A3, A10, and F2. Right. A3 and A10. A3 is a gold one. Yep. A3 and A10. Yep, A10 here. The tip got a bit damaged there. But just the way that. No, looks okay. Just a little bit weird. And then do back this one here. F2, 3. And I believe that's all on the F2. All right. Make sure you get this nice and clean. Right, so that one is done. Take that out of the way. I do plan on keeping all my minis because I do want to play Warhammer with them. All right, so okay. All right. So that's that way. This yellow piece goes in there, and this gray one goes in there. All right, looks pretty good. And we got B1, 7. B1's a red piece. B1, 7. I can separate this according to what they say here, but I think I'll leave it together. You can always separate it later. It's not always as easy to put it back together. All right. Turn that off. So this goes onto this. Snaps in place. And I can tilt around as needed. All right. And we also need A14. A14. All right, this one here. Oh, I did order a cutting mat, so it'd be a little easier to show things up on here and cut into without worrying about damaging the table. That should be here tomorrow. So it might need a little bit of cleanup. Let's see. Just a little bit of shaving. That's good. So this piece here, did I miss something? Okay, so that's the orientation for that. This front piece goes on like that. There we go. That can still turn, but just barely. And this piece goes on. There we go. Yep, that looks like that matches up there. Needs to be back out a bit more. Okay. So I have that piece there. Let's see, how are we doing on time? I think I have time for a little bit more. We got a bunch in here. All right, so C1 and C2. We are doing 30, 31, and 32 on both these. So 30, 31, 32. Again, Thursday is going to be a design stream. Okay, so that's 30. Okay, so that. It looks like that's the way that's supposed to go together. And all right, there we go for there. And then 30, 31, and 32 on here. All right. There we go. And there we go. That one's done there too. All right. And so we need 21 and 23. one. There. There. Sorry if my head's getting in the way. And there. Okay, so that looks like that. And this goes on that side. Okay. 21 and 23 from this one. Right. So that piece goes there. Right. And then we need 27 from C1 and C2. Seven is this one here. Okay. And 27 here. And D128. It's these white ones here. Eight. Okay. And 8. There we go there. All right, so this sits like this. We take one of these, goes here, and C27 goes into that. And this goes on the bottom here. Okay. So get that here, that there, that there, and a piece down there. And I got more dust bunnies attached. Okay. All right. And then we have D9 on the other side. 1 and 2. That is here. I have to say, this is a really nice tool for this. Yep. Turn that off. And there we go. And snap that together there. Let's see what the next step is. All right. Then we have B1 and 224 with the parts as tightly as they will go. All right. B is red. Both of these. 24. 24. Got that one, and the main thing with this is just making sure you're cutting at the right spot and you're not being overly aggressive. So that orientation. Okay. Okay. Yep, okay. That just slides in like that. Hmm. This is the right orientation. It looks like I do. It looks like the matching part there. Looks like that's supposed to fit there. It looks like that's supposed to fit in there. Not have it tight enough. That may have been it. Ah, yes, that was it. The pieces here were not pressed together close enough. Make sure that one is tight enough, and then this one should fit on much quicker. Yeah, there we go. All right. Then we have B1 and 2, 17. All right. 17. Okay, so this one here. I think I left some on there. Just trying to make sure I didn't overly cut in. Okay. All right. So these fit on these fins here, like that. Bend that up enough so that this will slide on. There we go. Okay. There we go. Just need to be on a little bit tighter. It's a nice snug fit. Okay, and then E1 and E2 5. These are E1 and E2. 5 is this one here. Right. This is probably the orientation we'll cut off the plainest. Right. Okay. And okay, those went on there. These up the other direction. Okay. That looks like it matches up more. Right, yep. There's a bunch of different connection points I can see now. There we go. And make sure they are all lined up. That looks like it needs a little bit of cleaning. Okay. Now, let's get that in the proper spot. Get that nice and snug. All right. I think I got more to do on this than I can do at the moment. So we're going to start back up at B16, 1 and 2. Let's take these off. Turn off the light, and I will catch up with chat because I know I'm way behind on that. Get this back in the box here so I don't lose them again because I get knocked off when I'm doing training, which is what happened last time. I was doing my online training and it fell off into the table. All right. So we've got, make sure this goes on here. These are the legs. Let me catch up. Ooh, we got a lot here. Okay. Wow, I was way behind on chat. Okay. All right. We have Extrusion 05. Hey, I think you're new here, so welcome to the stream. Your tool's sure looking fancy. Thank you for that. Is this HG Immortal Justice? Yes, it is. See, the specific one I've got is Immortal Justice Gundam. All right. And Extrusion 05 says, you cutting, yes, cutting mat is recommended, especially if you want to add water decals. Yep, this set comes with just sticky decals. And Gwen says, I think it's out of Gundam. Yep, Mobile Suit Gundam Seed is the series. And Gwen says, it's not out of silly phone. Yep, sorry about that. And Extrusion 05 says, yes, it's Gundam Gunpla. The kit's name is Immortal Justice, if I remember right. Yes, you do. And Gwen says, oh, I don't recall a specific one. And Extrusion 5 says, misclicked, MB. Extrusion 05 says, well, I only remember some of them, so yes. Gwen says, Torn will tell us. And Extrusion says, is he into it recently or for a while already? I've been into anime for a long time, but I've only done these recently. It's been a long time since I've done model building, but I figured it would be a fun thing to do on stream when I didn't have a braid currently up and running. So I've done. Let's see, what was the other one? Immortal Immortal Freedom, I think, or Rising Freedom, I think, is what the one I don't have the thing here, and I have not really watched Mobile Suit Gundam, or Mobile Suit Gundam Seed, sorry. And Gwen says, for a while, I believe he'll tell us that too. And Extrusion says, why is my sentence has an extra is? It's YouTube autocorrect or autocorrect. And Extrusion says, I see. And Gwen says, phone elves, they're prevalent tonight. Mine keep trying to take my spaces. And Extrusion says phone elves. And Gwen says, yeah, mine get drunk sometime and tries to help me spell stuff. He usually gets it all wrong. And Extrusion says, using the knife to get the parts off is pretty interesting. Yeah, I've got this recently. I got it mainly to clean up 3D printed models like this one here, so I can clean up like the little nubs that get left off from the supports. It's 40 kilohertz. You can change the blades. It comes with 6 blades. So I got more of these. And you can change the blade by taking the cap off and, set screw here. The blades have to be roughly the same size because you need the same amount of mass, so to speak, of the metal to get it vibrating at the right harmonics. Otherwise, it doesn't have near the cutting force. If you leave it in the cut too long, it does heat up and becomes like a hot knife, and it's not as good then. So you want to make short, quick cuts. You can turn it on just by pressing this, or if you pull it back, you got 2 minutes until it auto shuts off. While it runs, there's a fan, and it runs the fan cooling down when you're done. This is the battery pack. You can swap out batteries. There is a station where you can just set it in, and it keeps it charged until you're ready to use it. And if you get 2 batteries, you can swap it out if you're using a lot. This is on. This is off. Child lock. And then if you take it off, you can actually just pull the battery off. They're about $150. They're a really nice tool to use, I found. You can also just set a USB-C in there to charge it. So, but I have found it to be really helpful. This is actually just held into place with magnets. So this is the Hozo cyber knife. Let's see, get that real quick. There are a couple of different ones. Go back in. Keep catching up with chat. And Gwen says, I believe it's a vibrating type of knife. It's pretty cool. It chirps. Okay, so you guys can hear the chirps. I wasn't sure if the microphone was picking that up or not. And Extrusion says, damn, that's it. We don't have phone elves here. So we have those who keep hiding stuff, though. And Extrusion 05 says, oh, vibrating knife. Now, that's interesting. Gwen says he's going to notice pretty soon that there's a lot of posts in chat. Yeah, I did fall behind. And Extrusion laughing. And so you vibrated the nubs off parts. I haven't really used it yet on the 3D printed stuff, but it's been really helpful for cutting these out of the sprues. And Gwen says he'll read the post and answer any questions. Extrusion, 7 people watching, but only 2 chatting. Extrusion pondering. And Gwen says a lot of us do crafts while we watch Torn. And Gwen says some crochet felt. Extrusion, oh, really? That's interesting. I normally do braiding on this channel, and I talk while I braid, do counting and stuff like that. So let's see, we've got 10 people watching. We got 8 on YouTube and 2 on Twitter or X. And Gwen says, yep. And Extrusion, interesting. And again, welcome to the channel, Extrusion. If you got any questions, I'm more than happy to answer. Gwen says some people like to play Torn 3 streams videos while they do schoolwork, write legal briefs. Extrusion says, I will start assembling my Gundam kits on his next stream. And, hey, welcome, welcome. It's good to have you. And Extrusion says, like having someone talk background, isn't it? And Gwen says, it makes for a cozy time together. And Extrusion says, true, true. And Melee says, sorry, I'm more lurking than chatting tonight. No worries about that, Melee. Always welcome whether you chat or not. And Gwen says, "Hey, Melee." And Melee says, "Hey, but hey, Gwen." And Extrusion says, "Answer streak." Laughing my ass off. Yep. And Gwen says he likes answering questions. Yes. I if I'm doing a channel where I'm like trying to teach stuff and like like the braiding and whatnot. Um, One of the things I've really found annoying is that there are people who feel like if they've answered the question once, they don't need to say anything on it ever again. And I just don't think that's a good attitude to have if you're trying to share information. And Extrusion says, "No worries. I haven't actually watched Seed. Not really a fan of it." Yeah, this style's not really mine, but I really do like Transformers and Gundams and stuff like that. So I've been happy to do the models. And Extrusion says, "Zen, engineer." Uh, I'm actually my day job. I'm a CNC machinist and programmer. Extrusion says, "Damn, that's awesome." And Gwen says, "Yep, I like those chirps." Um, and Extrusion says, "I think we heard the chips a few times." Yep. And Extrusion says, "I'm a Gundam enjoyer, so I jumped in every Gundam Building stream I see." Well, thank you for that. If you want to check out my channel, I've got a lot of live streams where I make a whole bunch of different braids using a Japanese braiding technique called kumihimo. There's two different types. There's like a round disc that has a hole in the center, and these are weights you use on the end of the stream or end of the strings. Let me still got that a little bit too bright. Let me turn down the brightness a bit so you can actually see stuff here. It's about a little darker than I'll turn it down. There we go. Traditionally these are wood, but I was able to buy the molds off of some people who had them made. And I put in steel cores. They're like 70 grams or 100 grams. They can be as low as like 30 grams. And you have these weighting strings, and then you either have a counterweight for the disc, or there's like a sit-in frame where it's like kind of like a square table made out of sticks without a top. If you check my channel, you'll see a bunch of streams. Anything that says a Takadai building stream will have the other type of frame in it. I explain what I'm doing there. And if you have any questions, feel free to like ask them in a stream or leave a comment on a video, and I try and answer those as best I can. I'm a bit slow on responding them lately, but I'm going to try and catch up on that. I also make the braiding equipment for people to sell to people who want to do the art. And Extrusion says, "I saw your stream before when you were building this too, but it's morning, so I couldn't check it out." No worries on that. And Erica says, "Still lurking here. Not still here lurking, not feeling too hot." I am sorry to hear that, Erica. Hopefully things will pick up soon. And I think I am done for the night. I will stream again Thursday, roughly the same time. I'm going to be doing a design the braid for Aussie Overlord, and get that started on that so I can get that braid done. And then I think I'm either doing the next braid for Joe Neerman, Good Logic, or possibly that umbrella guy. I'll have to think about it and see who I want to do next. And Gwen says, "Erica Olson, that sucks. I hope you feel better soon." And Erica says, "Hello, Extrusion 05." And Erica says, "Thank you, Gwen." All right, let me see who's available to do for a redirect. I don't know if Andrea's still live. Let me check. Let's see, add a redirect. And I think that's an old thing. Let me go ahead and back out of here and reload it fresh just to make sure I've got the, don't send you to a dead stream. All right, let's see. And, oops, I'm on customization, not copyright. Let's add a redirect. All right, let's see who's available. Yeah, it looks like Andrea will finish up her stream. It looks like that umbrella guy is live. They're doing more What the Hails coverage. So I will send you folks there. All right, redirect is set. Thank you very much for that. And Extrusion says hello. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, I actually hit the mute button for the coughing fit. And Glenn says you're welcome. All right, so I have the redirect. Let's see. And Extrusion says, "Oh, are you sick, Eric? I hope you get better." Yeah. Gwen says, "Take care, all." And and I will see you folks in about 2 days. As always, everybody, stay safe and happy braiding.